marry me?
After dating for a year, he handed me a ring. We started dating, and we loved each other so much. And it was a relationship with marriage in mind. If we got married, we wanted 2 children, preferably a boy and a girl. He said we'd cooperate together in housework and childcare, so I accepted his proposal. My name is Arya. I was living a nothing interesting life as a 26-year-old office worker. However, about a year and a half ago, I had an encounter with destiny. With the support of friends, I could get closer to Ethan. Within 6 months, we started dating, and after a year we got married.
I'm so happy to be married to Arya. It's fun living with someone you love, isn't it?
Originally, I had a crush on him, but Ethan loved me. As we talked during our dating days, we shared household chores and lived together in cooperation. However, everything changed on one particular day. After 6 months of marriage, I got pregnant.
I need to work harder as a father, too.
Ethan said that, and I started overtime working. However, I am suffering from severe morning sickness and I'm mostly bedridden. I felt anxious and would like him to come back home early and be by my side if possible. But I could not say that to Ethan, who was doing his best. Time passed, and I entered the stable period of pregnancy. Ethan may be planning to earn money for the child. I wondered if the promises we made during marriage don't matter anymore, or he thought I have time because I was always at home. He had also stopped helping with the housework. Ideally, I would like to have a childbirth at my parents' home, but both of my parents have passed away. Though my in-laws live nearby, we hadn't met much, and I can't rely on them. I had childbirth while still suffering. Before I knew it, my son had turned 1 month old. Then Ethan, usually early, came back home and plopped down on the sofa.
I'm so tired today. What's for dinner?
Sorry, I'm just about to start making it.
My son's night crying was so intense that I couldn't sleep properly at night. During the day, I was fully occupied with household chores and childcare. I wished he had said that he came back home early. Suppressing those words, I stood in the kitchen. So my parents said they want to have a baby celebration this coming Sunday. I remembered they mentioned that when they visited the other day.
You ordered delivered? Well, she sounds good, right? And both Dad and Mom are coming all the way. Let's splurge and treat them nicely.
Oh, please help! Yeah, Mr. Okay, I got it.
Despite saying that, a week went by surprisingly fast, with no time to order sushi due to childcare and household chores. On Sunday, I tried to order sushi, but it wasn't yet during operation hours, so I couldn't place the order. Finally, when Ethan woke up, I was going to leave it to him, but he said he's going to the office and went out. In the end, I was so busy soothing my crying son that I couldn't order sushi or even eat my own meal, and lunchtime had passed. But I believed my father-in-law and mother-in-law would understand if I explained the situation. As I held my crying son, feeling like crying myself, my in-laws arrived. It was much earlier than planned. I wondered what happened.
As soon as they opened the door, my mother-in-law picked up my son. Has he been crying all this time?
Ethan used to be a very crybaby when he was born.
My father-in-law came in with a big bag in his arms. Where's ours? Pepper's rounds, they calmly said while taking something out of it. How is it? It's an assortment of horse maneuvers. We had made a reservation, but we thought it wouldn't be enough. But we put our hearts into making it since this morning. But your dad couldn't resist meddling, so it took more time than I expected. I am sure it was surgery. I really wanted Arya to have it, and he was so enthusiastic about it.
My mother-in-law said with laughter.
I honestly told them that I had intended to order sushi, but ran out of time.
Oh, never mind that. You're tired, so don't think about unnecessary things and just rest. I'll be honest, Gary. My father-in-law said that, rolled up his sleeves, but then he realized rice does not leave and dashed out to buy some.
My mother-in-law said she would take a crying son for a walk and told me to rest, so I appreciated her and lay down on the sofa.
After a while, I woke up to the sound of the front door opening.
What do you want to do? It was Ethan who entered the room. He said that parents were coming, right? Were you prepared? Are you prepared?
Ethan said forcefully to me, who was still drowsy from sleep. Then he noticed the assortment of horse deodorants that my in-laws had brought.
Hey, is this all you've prepared for today? I gotta be, right? Can't be, right? You ordered sushi, didn't you?
I couldn't order sushi.
As soon as I said that, Ethan suddenly got angry.
Why? Munachbich was not coming and you bought this cheap trash.
Trash? What are you talking about? I couldn't express my thoughts due to Ethan's overwhelming intensity. And then he knocked the large plate with the horse doorways off the table. I was stunned, and at that moment, my in-laws entered through the front door.
What was that noise? Are you okay?
My father-in-law, who was carrying the rice he had bought, and my mother-in-law, who was soothing our son, were surprised when they saw the scene. At the next moment, my father-in-law became furious.
Ethan, why did you act like this?
Then Ethan, without showing any remorse, said to my father-in-law, no reasons,
We can't serve such cheap stuff to Dad and Mom, who came all the way.
I couldn't find the right words to respond to his sharp tone. And then an argument erupted between my father-in-law and Ethan.
You always leave everything to Aria. If you think it's cheap, then you should have prepared everything yourself.
Only did I say you were coming for the baby celebration. So I told her to just get sushi. As her episode, you're always at home, so can you manage such an easy thing? Thinking today, even when I came back, there was no dinner ready. And now today, you serve this cheap stuff. What going on, and Debbie Bud? You ain't off to weep.
Ethan's words made my blood boil instantly.
Our father bought it for us.
And guy was down. This crust.
Telling all the built-up frustration on Ethan, Father reserved and bought it for us. And this one here was made by your dad and mom. How could you do something so awful?
No, that can't be. I didn't know. It's Patras.
If you didn't know, I never expected you to treat food like this. It's Timpa Brewstreppery.
Ethan paled rapidly.
And just because I am always at home, you stop doing anything for me. I've been struggling all alone. I'm here holding the baby, staying vigilant 24/7. Has Ethan ever done anything for me?
Oh, and you hold him. Not gonna lie.
Who can only soothe him when the baby is in a good mood? Good Risco style, Gutmore. You never hold him when he's crying. How when the baby starts crying, you just hand him over to me. And during the night crying, you leave the room because it's too noisy and can't sleep. Since our child was born, I've been holding back all these thoughts. But at the moment, my feelings were overflowing. I couldn't stop myself anymore. Does Ethan think that when I'm at home, I'm just sleeping all the time with my son? There's no way I can rest. My health is far from perfect, and if I can get 2 hours of sleep, it's considered good enough. I can keep saying he's going to work, but childcare is endless. Naturally, amid all that, why do I have to take care of you too?
I continued to confront Ethan while crying.
Do you live like that? I told you to take better care of Aria.
After putting our son to bed, my mother-in-law tried to calm me down and supported my father-in-law.
That's right. Postpartum is physically and mentally challenging.
Then Ethan finally spoke, stumbling over his words.
I had to work, so there was no other choice. I'm becoming a father too, so I thought I should earn more money.
Just because of that, what will you do if something happens to Aria's health?
Are you guys just worried about Arya? Of course, both Dad and Mom are happy that their grandchild was born, and they're malicious. And you are just concerned about Arya because she is just a mother. They're not seeing each other that much before.
Ethan said softly. Certainly, we didn't have a wedding ceremony, and we hardly interacted with my in-laws. My parents passed away in an accident before I married Ethan, so we had a wedding ceremony with just the two of us overseas. We had only met my in-laws properly during the formal greetings, even though their house is only a 30-minute drive away. Whenever we visited, I just slept close to Ethan, and we hardly had any conversations. When I got pregnant, my in-laws said they would cooperate, but I felt like we were practically strangers, and I didn't think we would get along well. But that was around 2 months before the due date of the childbirth.
How is Aria feeling? Can I come over with your dad now?
I received a sudden call from my mother-in-law. Even though I was surprised by the offer, I had no reason to refuse, so I said, sure, I'll wait. Feeling my heavy belly, I started to tighten up. Then the doorbell rang immediately. It seemed like my parents-in-law had arrived. What's going on?
I thought if you heard we were coming over, you might start cleaning or something, so I called you right away. It's almost lunchtime. Can we have lunch together? My mother-in-law was a very efficient person, and I used to feel a bit uncomfortable around her.
But her thoughtfulness almost made me tear up.
Arya, have a seat. We'll take care of the rest.
My father-in-law said, and together with my mother-in-law, he efficiently started tidying up. To be honest, my belly was heavy and painful, and I couldn't muster the energy to move, let alone clean, and planned to just have a simple lunch that day. Moreover, since I went on maternity leave from work, I hardly had anyone to talk to, and it was becoming stressful. So I was genuinely happy about my in-laws' visit. It seemed my in-laws had been worried about me, But they didn't want to trouble me, so they deliberately didn't contact me. However, since they hadn't heard from Ethan either, my father-in-law got in touch and found out that he'd been working overtime and on weekends and just taking a rest at home. Hearing that, they hurriedly decided to visit today. I was delighted and had been waiting to tell Ethan when he got home. He finally returned after 11 p.m. When he noticed that I was still awake, he rushed over to me.
Why so awake? Date now.
I just wanted to share that my in-laws came to visit. So why was he so angry? Maybe there was something I was guilty of, but I did not know what it could be. I just said sorry and cried as I got into bed. Even after that, my in-laws came to help regularly, but I never had a chance to talk to Ethan. I thought either my father-in-law or mother-in-law would tell him. But it seemed everyone assumed someone else would do it, and in the end, no one told Ethan, and he just found out now that my in-laws and I have got along well. Seeing that situation, Ethan had a rather pitiful expression on his face.
I'm Ariel's husband, and I'm your real son. You be like an outsider.
He'd managed to calm down for a moment, but those words made me frustrated again. What do you mean by outsider? I've tried to tell you countless times. I've waited for Ethan to come home many times. But whenever I'm awake, you get angry, questioning why I'm awake. Is there something you're hiding? I blurted out something I had been holding back since that day. Both my father-in-law and mother-in-law seemed to assume the worst. But Ethan firmly denied it.
No, be. That's not it. About your... there's absolutely nothing like that. This is just you wise.
How can you say that without any evidence?
I have evidence, but yesterday, I did it because I was worried about Aria's health. Sometimes in the middle of the night she woke up with stomach pain. I just thought she should get some rest.
Ethan's words made tears well up in my eyes, but my anger was still prevailing.
Oh, what about the other day when you came home early and arrogantly asked why there was no dinner?
At that Pitmer, well, that's,
Ethan started to speak awkwardly. As it turned out, that day he made a mistake at work and got scolded by his boss, so he finished work early.
That's such an embarrassing thing to say to Aria. For you that he talks to? That's why, it's with first bite, I ended up taking it out on you. I'm sorry,
I realized that Ethan might have been trying his best as a father all along. Finally, we began to have an honest conversation and confessed that he thought it was better for me to soothe our son. He started crying.
I thought I needed to be more responsible as a father, and I believed that I shouldn't spoil the children. Mothers can be indulgent, but fathers should be strict.
Ethan's words were somewhat incoherent, but I realized that he had been trying his best as a father too. It must have been challenging for him as well during our first childbirth. Seeing Ethan crying like a child, I couldn't help but feel emotional. Just then, we heard our son crying from the next room. As my father-in-law and mother-in-law picked him up and started comforting him and looking at us with laughing.
What a funny family, this parent and child.
Well, let's see who stops crying first.
In the end, our son was the first to stop crying. After this incident, it seemed Ethan had a change and started spending more time at home, balancing work and family life. 6 months divorce crossed my mind, but I'm satisfied with the outcome. Ethan's ideal father seemed to be the silent, strict type who only brings in money, but it was too mismatched with his character. I wonder why he had such an idea in the first place. He seems to have realized this too, and it has become an embarrassing past for him. Whenever I mention this topic, he turns bright red and runs away. Lipstick. Now he is kind to our son and soothing the night crying. We are going to have our daughter. Ethan and I are both excited about it. We are going to have our daughter. Ethan and I are both excited about it.